Charlie Harrison. Mr. Charlie Harrison.
We're here for our own wake service. The funeral was already done.
I will terminate this hearing if you proceed to interrupt in the fashion of applause.
Without involving a conversation.
I'm going to cut you off your argument and not presenting the information on what you want.
And it is a win-win.
We have the worst taxi cab commission and the worst local government in the country if they can't handle it.
Order! But I'm going to demand respect for the commission as an instrument of the people of the District of Columbia.
For better than 2 decades, hack licenses were peddled for cash, thereby introducing unqualified drivers into the system. Therefore, hack laws were selectively and capriciously enforced.
Did you just accuse us of committing crimes?
What we was asking for, I think what we would be pleased with if we could get a $2 per mile, not eliminating the extra passengers, the luggage, and leaving the $25 per hour as is. I service one hotel on Capitol Hill, and when I leave there going to Union Station, which I go quite often, that fare, meter fare, would give me, when I pull up in front of the door, it's $5. Okay, that's what I'm going to get, what you are telling me. But normally, I get a husband, wife, maybe 2 kids. So that's where, I get my extra. In other words, if you give me this little $2.16 per mile, which it's about a mile and a half at the most from the hotel to Union Station, but you're going to be taking $3 from me, okay?
As anyone who has lived and worked or visited in the District of Columbia over the last 15 years knows, DC has truly emerged as a world-class city. In place of blighted neighborhoods such as Chinatown, downtown, 14th and U Street corridors, we now have destination dining and nightlife in those areas. In place of derelict buildings, we have vibrant communities growing around commercial centers, so often spearheaded by the arrival of restaurants. You could say that DC has arrived, almost. The caveat to all of these wondrous changes is that the taxi industry has not kept pace with the industries that give this city its character and which have been instrumental in attracting new residents, businesses, and visitors. We have a world-class city and a third-class taxi system. The tragedy...
It seems amusing or perhaps confusing why every other industry that is regulated, only the cost attributed to that service is important, which begs the question, is the city government trying to make a cab driver employees with all the benefits rather than individual contractors? With a fare adjustment, the drop rate of $3 and the wait time of $25 are a fair rate restoration. A fair rate restoration for an additional mile should be $2 per mile. The dismissal, the reason I said restoration, because we were making $1.80 a mile before the meters. The dismissal of a taxi cab without the use of irrelevance because the driver is rarely, if ever, can collect the fare, even when NPD is called. The luggage and trunk fee should remain the same because, and should be clarified, because all extra weight and time completing the service should be compensated. If a personal service fee is eliminated, then the government surely can expect the taxi cab driver to give his or her labor free to America. The government has fully looked into the issues of transporting animals in taxi cabs. Instead, they have caved into a special interest group. Every time that an animal is transported, the driver should vacuum and thoroughly clean all areas that the animal has surfaced, because the next passenger could be allergic or animal hairs could surface on the clothing of the next passenger.
1 minute.
This service takes time and money, which should be passed on to the passenger who wishes to have their animal transported at that time. The elimination of the extra passenger fee would flip the industry's service levels, just as elimination of the shared riding. Extra passengers or extra weight, wear and tear on the taxi. Extra weight causes an increase in the consumption of fuel. Extra passengers increase the liability in the case of an accident. Do extra guests at the hotel pay more than a single person? How many ride free on the airline, bus, or the train? What is the service effects for the hotel and restaurant industry? There will not be an incentive to give service to groups instead of drivers who will focus on single passengers. The modernization of the taxi cab fleet. This is perhaps the most darning effect on the industry. How could the government propose a decrease in the driver's income for almost 4 years, causing extra hardships along the way, and now subject the driver, other stakeholders, modernize their vehicles without an opportunity to secure enough income to purchase a later modern vehicle? Let's not talk about the loans, because the stakeholders' credibility has been destroyed by the government regulatory invention. This modernization parallels with an era of America where shared property was a norm for a start for poor farmers. Thank you.
This is not an entertainment venue. This is a regulatory hearing. We will not allow for outbursts when people are making their presentations on either side. Thank you, Mrs. Roberts.
I think personally we should keep all of our fees. I understood that when the mayor was running as a candidate that he was just going to increase the money that we made. We were going to keep all of our fees, and then we were not going to worry about somebody taking money from us. So
Here today, deeply concerned and disturbed by the actions of this commission. I've watched through 4 administrations the ineptness of the council, the mayor's office, and the taxi cab commission. I've watched the erosion of the ability of the drivers to make a living. We're supposed to be here today to discuss the issue of rates. There's supposed to be a rate increase. How do you justify providing a rate increase of $2.16, okay, for mileage when we were making $3.25 June 1st, 2008, before the legal meters were forced down our throats? And the reason why I said it was illegal, because we ended up going to court. Court ruled that the cap was illegal. Mr. Linton, I know I'm telling you nothing that you're not already conscious of. The fact of the matter is, it's very disturbing when I go online and see that Mayor Gray's administration has signed a contract with Uber, which is a company that's supposed to be providing sedan and limo service.
And I would tell you that in our reference of and review of their operations, they're operating illegally, and we intend to take steps towards that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, sir. The drivers here today, we're here for our own wake service. The funeral is already done, because as I understand it to be clear, that these new rules and regulations have already been posted to the Federal Register. Am I clear on that? Is that clear, sir? Is that correct?
Requirement of the law, yes.
Yes, sir. Now,
That doesn't mean they're in effect. They don't go into effect until they finish the process.
I understand. That's why we're here with the process. I understand. But as Mrs. Reed did back in July, before she was interrupted in a meeting that I was at over at the police academy, I asked one question after the bulk of the drivers got up and walked out. I didn't leave. I said, after this information is posted to the Federal Register, does it become law, and does it have to go back in front of the council of the mayor? And she said it becomes the law. So I'll close on that and letting my fellow drivers, who a lot of them know me in this industry, we have never been considered and given any inkling of a vested interest. For those drivers who've been in this industry, the Hotel Association, Restaurant Association, all powers to be, they want all these computers, they want these things. They've done nothing to help us. Not one thing. And I'll close on that. Thank you.
I will terminate this hearing if you proceed to interrupt in the fashion of applause. This is a regulatory hearing. We will function in that matter, or there will be no hearing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bethea.
Age limit and surrounding jurisdiction from Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, and Montgomery is 7 years, 350,000 miles. Average driver in District of Columbia drives his vehicle, give and take, between 20,000 to 25,000. Which means if you put 5-year limit or anything around that, that means the car will be obsolete around 125, which would make sense.
On chapter 6, you propose modernization of taxi cab. Yeah. On chapter 6, you propose modernization of taxi cab. And that requires us to buy new cars 5 years old. Who's going to finance this?
This is not a question and answer, sir.
This is a presentation by you on your position on these proposals. So please proceed.
But I'm going to have an obligation when this proposal become a rule that I have to obey the tax cab commission ruling. So I have to know where I have to get the money.
At this stage of the game, the question
Question is on your position and your attitude about what is being proposed. You want to speak to that or not?
Yes, Mr. Later.
Please proceed.
Okay. The other thing, these new cars, with the coverage we have and the insurance, how are we going to afford it? You know what kind of insurance we have? We don't have comprehensive insurance. We don't have collision, which we have collision, some yellow cab or chauffeur. How you force me to purchase a car that the city doesn't offer me to cover my car's insurance? If I buy a new car, next day if I get an accident, I'll throw that car because I don't have coverage. And without having proper coverage, nobody can finance me. If I go to a dealer and ask to buy a car, the first thing they will require me is to have a premium coverage comprehensive to protect their car. So there is no way for me to buy a car with this kind of insurance what we have in DC. So before you do that, you have to change your insurance policy.
I just like to know why all of a sudden no more salvage vehicle. There's no safety issue. I mean, for the past 25 years I've been in business, there's no major accident with salvage vehicles. Nothing had come up about salvage vehicles. So I'm concerned why all of a sudden there's no more salvage vehicles. You're not allowed, and you're saying effective immediately. And you're not even giving us time, if you want to pass that law, get rid of the salvage vehicle in 2 years or 3 years. There's no safety issues. If any studies been done about salvage vehicle in DC? I don't think so. I mean, I haven't heard anything. There's safety issues. So if they go into their state DMV inspection with no problem, I think they should be allowed. I'm for the best industry, taxi industry in the nation. I support that. But I think 5 years or 300,000 miles is kind of a little steep for everybody. Let's do more studies before we decide to pass this new law all of a sudden on the drivers.
It's everywhere around the United States cab industry, they do charge extra passenger. Why we should take people free? Are the people are going to give us to something to us or help us instead of to beat us? No. Everywhere, every jurisdiction in the United States of America, they do charge luggage, they do charge extra passenger. Why should we take people for free?